Welcome to our nation. I'm Brian Kilmeade. It is Saturday night. I am glad you are with us. Amongst our great guests, the former President of the United States and maybe future President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. We have an exclusive. We're bringing the entire story. But first, I want to get this out of the way. I want to talk about the Democratic Party because I'm getting the sense they're in complete panic mode these days. A lot of reasons for this, and it begins but doesn't end with their candidate and his alarming agenda. So it's no surprise that they're worried. We know Joe Biden has not been a great president, which naturally makes him not a great presidential candidate. He was never a good candidate, not even when he won in 2020. Let's be clear. No pandemic, no President Biden. I think in a moment of honesty, he'd say the same thing. So now with an old Joe Biden at 81, coupled with his current energy level, not good, it's clear he won't be drawing any big crowds anytime soon. Have you heard some speeches lately? They continue to be muddled, and they're now plagued by this new thing, Hamas hecklers, which lead me back to my first line. The Dems are in a panic mode. Why, you ask? Well, for starters, you not only have the threat of Team Trump, which is pretty organized and pretty impressive, but you also have third and fourth parties, too. Yes, the incumbent president's campaign is especially anxiety-ridden of this guy called Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So much so the DNC is launching an emergency call immediately after RFK announced his VP candidate because it's a left-winger, entrepreneur, Nicole Shanahan. Clearly, it's a Democratic ticket. Need even more proof that they are worried and he is worried? I got it for you. Biden's called in the big guns, former Democratic presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Keep in mind, they're coming to the rescue. They slapped this star-studded fundraising extravaganza together in New York City, raking in $26 million, which is great. But that's not all Obama is doing for this old VP. He's working behind the scenes. He's working with Biden's chief of staff and his aides to strategize a re-election plan. He is personally expressing alarm to others about Joe Biden, all to ensure that Biden, despite all his failures, remains president. I have news for you. Barack Obama is not going to get Joe Biden president. And let's remember, Obama isn't the only one who knows how to throw together a plan, too, and a team. How about Team Trump? What about their game plan? How do they game plan against Biden? I got a suggestion. Here we go. Mr. President, or Mr. Former President, get a pen ready. Get your team together. Not a team of has-beens, but a soon-to-bes, with court cases stacking up, and he's got to sit in court for a lot of them, and fundraising a major concern. They just redid the RNC. Why not name the people that will be by your side if, in fact, you win? Your cabinet, your inner circle. Let the country know they'll be in good hands come November with people beside you. You got from FBI to DNI to Secretaries of State, Labor, Defense, Chief of Staff. Let's get a clear picture. Let's go with the people that I'm convinced will be there. John Radcliffe, DNI. Mike Pompeo, anywhere needed. He's already done CIA and State. Marco Rubio, for me, I'd make him Secretary of State. Robert O'Brien was awesome as National Security Advisor. Rick Grinnell, ready to go back to the UN. Kevin McCarthy, for my money, Chief of Staff. In the wings, Stephen Miller will be part of the roster, of course, a major player. Kellyanne Conway, who knows if they can match the Fox money. She'll be there if asked. Kristi Noem, maybe VP, Elise Stefanik, Tim Scott. They're all in the mix, fanned out across the country. And by the way, they can earn money. They can express a vision. They know policy. Let them campaign. Talk about the vision of the country as they see it and different from one we're currently experiencing. Look, I know Donald Trump's a one-man show. I know the curtain never comes down, but he can't do it by himself. Now is the time. Get everybody lined up in their roles. Let them know who's going to be nominated and who's not. Get everybody together, ready to go. Clear up those background checks and make it clear to the American people that you know what they want and we know who you want, and let them know who they're getting. Trump could be going from the least experienced president in 2016, he'd even tell you that, to the most experienced president in history. And it's time to show it. Prove that the next 4 years won't be anything like the past 4 years and better than his first 4 years. Two can play the surrogate game. But with a little transparency, the 45th president can give the best view yet of what the 47th president would look like and his presidency. Joining me now to talk about all this and so much more, the author of the brand new book that everybody's talking about, Second Class, How the Elites Betrayed America's Working Men and Women, and Newsweek opinion editor Batya Ungar-Sargon, and this guy named Charlie Hurt, who, when he wants to look smart, wears glasses. Guys, really, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
It's just so exciting to see you in person. I want to be able to really
I know, you would
take you all in.
Batya, he was shaking in the green room, wasn't he? First off, what's your impression of the Biden's mindset, the camp? Are they in panic mode, or are they looking at the money in the bank and feeling good?
I think they're really, really worried. You got to remember, in 2020, Donald Trump was polling at 8% of black men. He walked away with 18% of black men. He's now polling at 30% of black men, so you can imagine what those numbers are going to be like. The majority of Hispanics are now on the Trump train. What does that tell you? It tells you that the American working class sees Donald Trump as a champion, and that's got to scare the Democrats big time.
Joey, the polls are somewhat closing, believe it or not, off the State of the Union after the last couple of polls. Even though they're a snapshot, they're not gospel. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think it's also always important to remember that this early on, people are not necessarily sort of dialed into all of the issues over the course of the, that's why we have campaigns over the course of the campaign. I think all of these issues that they all run against Biden's favor, and they all run to, and the fact that immigration, wherever that is in the lineup, it's in the top concerns, if not the top.
Law and order.
Yeah, all those things. That's Donald Trump's signature issue. I think that 2020, Democrats pulled out all the stops. They did everything that they could do to try to get Joe Biden over the line. Every one of those metrics are worse for Biden today.
Batya, how do you feel about my idea about naming the cabinet? Put the guys out there, the women out there, let everybody know what they're getting. There's no mystery at this point.
Let me tell you why I love this idea. I think Donald Trump is the consensus candidate that Joe Biden pretended he was going to be on all of the issues, whether it's trade, whether it's immigration, whether it's abortion, whether it's unions. Donald Trump is where 70% of Americans are at, but there's a lot of distraction around Donald Trump, the man. I think in naming a candidate, naming a cabinet, letting us know who his surrogates are going to be, he can really solidify this image as the centrist candidate in this campaign.
Joey, I know I can be intimidating, and Batya is so smart, but would you also agree with Batya?
Yeah, no.
Or do you think I'm wrong?
No, 100%. I think it's not to be racist about it, but 100%, which apparently is now racist. But anyway, no, I agree completely. And Donald Trump is the least ideological president we've ever had. And he's also, you look back at 2016, at the end of the day, there were all those distractions, and Democrats tried to make it about the distractions. But at the end of the day, voters voted on issues. 2016 was the most issue-oriented election of our lifetime. And I think that 2024 is shaping up to be even more focused on the issues. And I think Batya is exactly right. He is completely without ideology. He loves the country. He believes in law and order, like 70% of Americans.
But he also gives people the power to do their thing. Yeah. He tells the Secretary of State, you go do your thing. Yeah. Let me know when you need me. You have the power to do it. I am not going to be on you every second of the day. That's why I thought the vision of everyone doing their thing from Pompeo on down would be important.
Yeah, and he also has announced that he's going to release another list of judges from which he's going to pick. And
it worked last time.
Yeah, it worked last time, and that's a really important issue.
So,
hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.